recall. That is not where you want to be. My man caught shopping.
Looking at Jax, come looking at Jax. Yeah. Jax, do this. Guys, 3 people are charged. Look. Okay, careful. Zeri, go.
Look here.
Alistar. Go.
I'm going. It's hard for me to join here. Only you guys.
Keep going.
I have much
Nothing Team Heretics do matter in the face of BDS. Again, their patience, the execution, just better in this game.
Welcome back to the LEC. BDS taking the lead in this best of 3 series against Heretics. Coming into this today, Broxah, we said there were 2 different drafts that we've been seeing from teams. We've been seeing the picks, we've been seeing the team comps, and it felt like we got a little bit of both.
Yeah, and honestly, I was expecting Heretics to be the side playing the Twisted Fate and playing side lane with Wunder, but Adam played Tia for the first time in his career in an official game, and he did it so amazing. Sure, there was some hiccups here and there, but I think the general idea was there, and I was pretty happy with the way they played.
Yeah, definitely agree. You know, they kind of dipped their toes in both pools, right? They had a couple of very strong, reliable team fighting tools like the Jax and like the Nautilus in particular with the Zeri, and then of course, you know, sort of a little bit of more flair with the Twisted Fate. And I kind of agree. Coming into it, we probably would have had expectations. We didn't necessarily quite get to cover them of Heretics kind of playing this comp like BDS have and vice versa. So to me, not only is it very nice to see BDS play a much more macro like heavy style, and we'll get onto that very soon, the fact that Heretics had relatively okay matchups and didn't actually necessarily even get to punish with some of the more reliable tools that they had was probably the bigger shocker for me coming out of this game.
Yeah, for me, it kind of throws my mind back to the interview that we had with Adam earlier, where he was like, I don't know, maybe we're gonna play a Zeri, maybe we're not, maybe some teams will, maybe we won't, and then they ban it, and then they're going to picks that none of us expected, which is a good sign from BDS because they had to make these changes. But an even better sign was the fact that the way that they executed this composition by playing the map perfectly, especially in the early game, had set them up for success time and time again.
Yeah, I think when you look at this comp, you need to realize that the strong point or the aggressive point of Heretics is the Volibear in the jungle, and it's the Varus that wants to play really aggressive in the early game. The problem is, Twisted Fate top is just gonna leave, you know, top lane, base, ult back on the map and get an advantage for his team. You match Volibear with the Jax, so Volibear can't actually play aggressive early, and Karma is great into Orianna, can easily follow, and all of a sudden the advantage you wanted out of the Varus and the Volibear is negated, and BDS just utilized this pressure from Adam so well. Like, he was slowly building up a huge lead in top lane, and I think one thing you really need to be mindful of when you play with Twisted Fate is that the advantage that Heretics has with Cassandra is generally, in most team fights, they're going to be stronger. So you need to realize, if you can push out side lane with TF before the objective spawns, you're in a great position where Heretics has to decide, do we want to contest the dragon and lose a turret? Or, you know, what do we actually do? It's kind of a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of funny because a lot of the habits that BDS tend to have are structured around a lot of these Dragon objectives in the mid-game specifically. And the fact that they just give up the third one, and Heretics, it seems like mentally are just like, well, why are they not here? Why are we not seeing a 5v5 play out? It's just, again, it's a bit of a macro masterclass in this particular sequence. And Heretics, I think, after that point, even though, again, like you're mentioning, they've got the Orianna Volibear, they've got the Alistar, they never really found too many good opportunities to actually abuse it. And even when they kind of got okay options like this one here, it's like, well, BDS are already so far ahead in gold that this is just more of a like half a comeback in terms of the gold deficit that they found themselves in.
And I think after that one fight, BDS was really good at realizing how they need to play the comp. Usually Heretics would just run right at them with Cassandra, Volibear, and Alistar frontlining, but BDS quickly realized, well, we don't necessarily have to engage. They are gonna all in. If we kite back and survive the initial engage, we can fall back, they will never be able to reach our carries, and Ice was just free hitting every fight, completely destroying them.
Yeah, and it's kind of the power of spacing, right? And when you don't have consistent lockdown, right? I talk about Alistar and Orianna maybe being like a reliable source. It's not Nautilus, right? So if in the case of BDS, you're able to just get all of these shields and speeds up, all of the dashes back, all of the stun cards you have to walk through as Team Heretics, it's really, really difficult unless you're basically just finding a wombo combo. And again, BDS spaced out well enough that they only really gave them one throughout the entire game. And even then, it wasn't a game-winning play.
Look at serious damage. This is the power of good team fighting, understanding how to play around your zones and kiting back when the enemy team walks at you, because Ice could just freely hit every single fight.
But it's also the gold advantage that was grown over time from the side of BDS, and that is due to that successful early game. Whereas when we're looking at Heretics, they had their chances at making their composition work, but that didn't necessarily translate that well. So coming into the next game then for me brings the question in regards to how can Heretics set themselves up to actually be able to play against the early game of BDS? Or is BDS just going to throw everything around the complete 180 to what they're used to and start playing their team compositions again? And then we're like, oh, well, how is Heretics going to do?
I think Heretics need to find out which style they actually want to play, because with Cassandra Orianna, you're kind of setting yourself up for the late game team fighting and scaling, but then you have Volibear and Varus who want to play really aggressive and make things happen in the early game. And if you have one foot, you know, in each play style, it becomes a little bit awkward because nobody can really fully do their job. So I think them just choosing what route they want to go will make a big difference.
Yeah, and with Heretics as well, getting that blue side, they will get the first picks.
Yeah, they will get the first picks, but I kind of disagree because I feel like BDS have a pretty good example of having their toe in both pools, right? It wasn't an entirely dedicated pick comp, and it wasn't necessarily an entirely dedicated teamfight comp, but they're able to, you know, find their avenues and spacing around what Team Heretics are working with. I feel like it was more about Heretics not really finding the windows to, like, say, try and abuse Karma mid with, like, a double ultimate combo between the Volibear and between Orianna, or, again, you know, playing around perhaps, and this is actually a big point for me, it was on hit Varus into Jax, into Twisted Fate cards, into basically all of these very annoying to deal with abilities that if you're on hit, you don't really want to be in the range of those skills. And to me, I feel like it kind of hampered perhaps some of Flakked's ability to actually get damage out, even though, you know, not contextually, fundamentally, he should have a very strong core around it.
I think the counterpoint is, if you want to play that kind of style, you shouldn't go on hit Varus to begin with.
Yeah.
If you go Varus, you have to play really aggressive and win your lane. Otherwise, just lock in Jinx and farm for late. But 100%. Let's see how they adapt.
The laning phase, particularly as well for the bot side of Heretics, didn't necessarily go in their favor. They were being pushed out quite often by the side of BDS, so that's something to be keeping in mind. But again, a heavy emphasis on taking away the Ashe and the Senna here.
Yeah, one adaptation we're seeing from Heretics is last game they banned Olaf first, now they banned Jax instead. This means Adam could potentially go for something like the Olaf, but we'll see. The Orianna prior stays the same, and I think the Jax ban just showcases that they want Jankos to be in a position where he can play aggressive and where he can dominate Sheo. If you lock in jungle in 2-3, Sheo can match with a counter like the Jax, and it's difficult for Jankos to do his thing.
Yeah, I do wonder what adaptations BDS will have with the Jax out. I feel like in terms of jungle pool, Sheo's not necessarily going to be super stripped for options. They're definitely very set on the Zeri, that's for sure. It's more about whether or not they want a more consistent form of engage again, like the Nautilus. Hovering over the Annie, it would definitely be a very, very solid answer in the mid lane, I feel like. And again, give them an opportunity to find some snap engages.
Yeah, I kind of like the Annie approach. I mean, generally BDS seems to be saying that they have enough scaling coming out of Zeri. I mean, sure, they can have the Karma, but even more so. Yeah. But now, they need to find the aggression. They need to find the tools like the Jax and TF they had in the last game to actually bring these two to the point where they outscale and take over team fights. We need some form of aggression on both sides.
Yeah. I feel like, to me, I think the one thing that Heretics were really missing was a point-and-click CC last game. I would like them to just straight up, well, the problem is they're going to need an AD in this 2-3. I would have loved for them to go Nautilus. Maybe they feel like Flakked's champion pool is deep enough, right? And we've certainly seen a plethora of options from his time here in the LEC. And he's going towards the Kalista. So now, again, it's kind of that very much, you have to be aggressive on the bottom side. My big question really is, will Zwyroo be able to actually, you know, push out this Karma and allow Jankos to actually have a lot of freedom to very consistently move down towards that bottom side?
Well, the thing is, the Joker, so to speak, in last game was Adam on the Twisted Fate, roaming down, pressuring the map with his ult, not letting Wunder do absolutely anything. And now, locking in the Olaf early, you know, kind of showcases they want to go the same route. They want Adam to put Wunder on the turret, use his aggression to take over bot side. And I think with Karma, that pick makes so much sense.
It's gonna enable him a lot in the mid game, to say the least. I wonder if this is BDS kind of throwing down the gauntlet and saying, okay, your game plan is probably gonna be, we're gonna try and throw as many ganks down towards the bottom side. We're gonna lock in Olaf on this 3, ban away 2 picks that can't really, or that do a good enough job at kind of sort of surviving the lane, and then we're gonna stomp the top side whilst you're trying to get resources out of the bottom side. And Zeri will eventually still be Zeri, right? As long as we've got the tools to shut down the Kalista in the mid game, we're happy to take this trade.
One thing we need to see from BDS's side here is some form of reliable engage. Last game they had the likes of Nautilus, Maybe they could look for a Nautilus on 4 again if it doesn't get banned. They could look for something like a Vi in the jungle perhaps. There's different directions they can go, but they're already going to have very strong team fighting. They're going to have pressure in top. They just need the comp to be more well-rounded. Some additional frontline and engage, and then they're good to go.
Looking particularly though at how far we're in the drafts right now from the side of Heretics and the side of BDS, I'm looking more towards that jungle top lane synergy and whether or not we'll see more focus from the side of BDS towards the top lane just because Heretics wants to focus their resource on bot.
Yeah, it feels like it makes the most sense. I feel like this is a very... If I'm Heretics, I'm really scared of a Sejuani pick here. I think if you've got Sejuani Olaf on top side, I think it's incredibly hard to contest with Volibear. And even if you get an okay counter matchup, it kind of gives BDS everything they need. Engage, frontline. I'd really like to see them remove it away. They go for the other option in the Vi. Now I feel like Sheo probably goes towards this on 4. If I'm BDS, I want to hold on to support counter pick, even if I know I might abandon the Kalista. But at the same time, they also need to take away the Nautilus, so they're kind of in two minds about it. It seems like they're going to actually give over the potential jungle pick, or I say give over, wait until R5, or rather, lock down the Nautilus because they don't necessarily want to have to deal with the consistent engage that Team Heretics would then have on that pick.
Taking the Nautilus here does make a lot of sense because, again, they just need reliable engage. Nautilus is the main guy to do it. You could go for something like Arakan as an alternative, but it just doesn't do the exact same. And even just being able to drop the R on Kalista in team fights is going to disrupt her entire kit. Now we are seeing an aggressive top laner coming out of Heretics, which I think is huge for them because that was one of the issues last game. We are going to need to see Wunder not necessarily stepping up, but being in a different position where he can actually fight back at him. And with these, top sides, regardless of the choice coming out of BDS here in 5, top jungle is going to be pretty spicy. There's going to be a lot of volatility up there.
Yeah, but I feel like it has to succeed because right now, from what I'm seeing on Team Heretics side, even though, you've got the scaling of Zeri, you've got added utility through the Karma, Team Heretics' composition is very, very scary in the mid game, right? And I feel like the versions of Team Heretics that we've seen so far through our regular split with a composition like this tend to be decisive enough to try and pull ahead, and usually they will close out. Wasn't the case in game 1, of course, much different style there, but here I feel like BDS need to find a strong answer in that 2v2 in the top side. Hovering over the Viego for now. Again, I feel like they want one more form of engage, but if they go towards this Viego, and they do, they really do need to run over the top side matchup and ensure that Adam doesn't have a rough time in this Rumble matchup because we've seen it happen before.
Yeah, but we've seen it as well from BDS where they put all their eggs in the top lane basket, so it's not necessarily a playstyle that they're not familiar with. But from the side of Heretics though, in terms of the answers that they have through this draft to be able to deal with BDS, what are their chances?
Well, I love the adaptations coming out of them because one of the things they missed last game was early game power, someone that could fight with the Volibear, with the Varus. Now, they have Volibear again, they have Kalista, which is similar to Varus, but they also have the Rumble, so they actually have more threats and more ways to play forward. And I think with this draft, it can really go both ways. I think bot lane is going to be a pretty key element because getting the push in bot is going to affect the top side with the support roams and potentially AD carries roaming. Kalista, being on Heretic side, should secure the push, and then it's really going to come down to what happens around the Grubs, what happens around Herald, who wins the top jungle fights that may potentially happen.
Yeah, I mean, to quickly round off, I think Team BDS, they probably want to try and snowball this Olaf as much as they can, but it's in a very, very difficult matchup, and Heretics have an incredibly large advantage in the bottom side, so it's going to be difficult to pilot.
But this is also Heretics' chance to be able to bring it back and push it to that final game of the series. Whether or not that's possible, let's find out as we're going to be heading over to our casters. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Ginny in the desk. It's like a band.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Some previous
We can work on the
era.
album.
We'll figure it out later. We don't. Brain bad. Hands good.
League of Legends good.
League of Legends good. It's a sync, Rob. We're coming together. Bring it together. Synergy. Synergy definitely.
Synergy good.
What's going to be needed here from the side of Team Heretics. I would love to talk about bot lane. I think bot lane is a big deal, but I'm not. Instead, I'm going to talk about top lane because this is not the first time we've seen Adam's Olaf into a Rumble. Now, last time was Photon's Rumble, and he got cooked, roasted, on the Rift and off the Rift, after Photon just kind of 1v9'd his entire team. Wonder we'll have to try to replicate that performance here. This is a super volatile matchup. Any small mistake can cost you the lane. So as interesting as bot lane is going to be with his Kalista Alistar, or this jungle matchup, I feel like we're just going to have to keep going back to top.
Yeah, I agree. It feels so much of this game is going to be decided on, can Adam run down Heretics? Because if he's in a position where he's actually in a lead or even coming out marginally ahead, he's in such a good spot. Nuke being able to speed him up. You got Labrov who can get those guaranteed point-and-click CCs. And there's no one to stop him. It's not like you have a huge amount of opportunities to try and keep him at bay from chasing down Flakked or anything like that. So I think at this stage, I'm expecting Sheo and Jankos to be putting a lot of attention up into this top end of the map. And even Adam walking into that third brush as well, trying to see if he can get a little bit sneaky, maybe catch. You wonder as he's walking into lane.
Interesting decisions at the start of the game. Of course, Sheo starting on the top side of the map can still path up to top side if he wants, may indicate that he's pathing down. But with double combat summons for Flakked and Trymbi, an early Volibear gank could be devastating for the BDS bottom lane. Ice does not have cleanse, he just has the Ghost.
Yeah, Sheo actually going to start Raptors, immediately go into this bot side and wrap back up. So I think he'll be playing off of a bit of a different timer than he was in the last game, where it was, hey, I'm going to clear my top 3 and then immediately try and at least cover Adam in his matchup. So I'm curious to see how he wants to try and approach into that top hand. The map, half the map should be there just as Adam's able to get that wave bounce back if he is shoving in that top lane, which it looks like he is at the moment, yeah.
And gotta say, while they have opted for the same mid lane matchup again, I think a lot of the previous game, the struggles early game for Zwyroo were kind of built on the back of struggles in other lanes or struggles in other matchups. It wasn't necessarily the Orianna into Karma, so not surprised to see it for a second time.
And I think as well for Jankos, the opportunity to try and play off of maybe not the push from the Karma in the mid lane, but the push on bot side meant that he could have tried to invade on bot side jungle, but instead we're just going to have him moving up towards top side. So both junglers immediately going to be putting a lot of pressure already onto this top half of the map.
Who can get any kind of meaningful edge early on? Adam, for now, keeping push in his favor is mid lane is still fist fighting. Karma Mantra Q still unmissable in lane.
But this is where it gets dangerous, right? This is a terrible lane state for Adam because it will slow push out, right? But you can see already where Jankos is going to be positioned. So I think this is where Adam going to at least accept the wave underneath his own tower. Should have Sheo there to cover any sort of dive. So should be relatively okay, but definitely does not want to be chunked out before this starts.
Does not. Wunder, of course, going to overheat. Need a few seconds to get that meter back up. And Jankos now shadowing on the push out.
Because this is a very similar play that we saw. It was Vitality, Photon playing literally Adam into this matchup, and a huge amount of it was on the same side, trying to push out Adam on this bounce back. So Wunder was it was Photon was able to get that decent reset, gets the kill and immediately takes over. So Adam at least not falling too far behind, but Wunder should be fine now to get this wave crash into the lane.
Sheo here to respond. Crucially, one of the melee minions just wrapped around the wave and ended up revealing Jankos on the play there. You can see he was immediately pinged out, or I imagine he would have moved into at least the second or third brush to try and punish a potential gank from Sheo. Both junglers have now wandered away. But at this stage, Wunder has to be careful. Obviously, the further you push, the more lane there is for Olaf to run you down, and it is always a bit of a gambit.
I think for Wunder at the moment, though, he's in an okay spot. Has a health advantage, still has Ignite as well. So should be in a position where if they go toe-to-toe, I think Wunder does come out on top. And especially with Sheo now, we already saw as clear, he's going to be moving back into his bot side camps respawning. So I think he'll need to go for a reset off of this, taking this scuttle, and it should be in bot lane. So it give an opportunity to Wunder to try and punish Adam underneath the turret, which is he's doing right now. Just try and get that overheated, well, not overheated, but the amplified damage on the Q.
Yeah.
And Jankos just trying to cover bot side here as well now, making sure that Sheo can't get involved here.
Early on, push still going in favor of the BDS bottom lane. Imagine some of that's just to do with Nautilus, Riptide early trading a little bit more favorable than Alistar, unless they're going to go for the complete all-in. See what they can do on the bounce back. Very quiet. Now, yesterday, like the previous game was not that bloody. Really only in the final moments we see kills start to come through is much more about the early map movements. And while we, kind of sold, while we're kind of, I was gonna say we kind of sold. We're like, guys, top lane, John Wick. Like, sorry guys, we meant John Wick 4. He's kind of just holding up the suit jacket and spraying wildly. It doesn't quite hit the same as the first one. That might change here as we get closer to level 6 and the Ragnarok and the Equalizer become available.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember Gears of War. I remember watching it. Oh, hang on.
Yes, here we are.
Okay, flash, but yeah, I remember it was like, promise that I'm going to be like popping out of cover and shooting people and like in and out and all this, and it was just wildly spraying over the wall. Felt very very similar. But Wunder, Labrov, great.
We're gonna come back to that because I have a lot of love for that game. But for now, the top lane setup is there. Rob body blocking the Electro Harpoon, and it's a wave state sort of game, Rob. So anyway, you would be right. But for those degens like myself who got really good at the second and third one, or in my case, watched your friends get really good at it, and you sat behind the cover.
I think you're already wrong.
No.
So
You can animation cancel every form of movement in that game, and it gets disgusting. You look like a Riven player on crack. You're so good.
myself and Ushin were both very, very good the first one. And all I remember is playing a significant amount of hours on that. But yeah, you'll never replicate the long shot in game one. The long shot in game one was the perfect weapon. I loved it so much. And then they messed it up. I was about to say a different word in game 2 and 3. And it really
We're
hurt
getting
my
lost
soul.
in the fill. I feel you. I understand. I feel the same way about the Halo 1 pistol. It took them a lot of games to get that back. That said, witty point to tie us back into the game. Here we are. I don't have it, man.
Beautiful.
Nothing is happening.
Speaking of cover.
Important updates. Swiftness boots on the top side for Rumble. Wants to walk away from the Olaf. Olaf buys the best early item purchase in the game. It is Hex Drinker. This item is so disgustingly good. Everything else for early defensive itemization just pales in comparison. But needs to get in range of the Rumble. Needs to be able to run him down, which still might be tricky. And BDS, they have the push. They have the setup. But are they ready for the bear? Nuke just trying to stop the Orianna from joining the party. Jankos uncertain. Will not go forward. All right, the play fizzles. Nobody gets the Drake. We're resetting one more time.
No, I think it was a good call from Nuke, though. Being able to punish Zwyroo there meant that they weren't able to get control, and BDS trying to regain control on bot side. Trymbi going in, forces the ult from Sheo.
Nice.
That's huge.
Good reaction there from Sheo to immediately ult to stop the CC from coming through, to go unstoppable, but clearly anticipating a Volibear waiting in the darkness that wasn't quite there in time. Does walk away with his life. So just a trade of cooldowns. And now it's Team Heretics' turn to start the objective, but they are standing on Skull Vision. BDS, without ulti for the Viego, do they actually want to walk in to contest this one?
I don't think you can. I think you just give it at this stage. Even with the push, Wunder had disappeared from the top side as well, so they weren't entirely sure if he was going to be moving down. I think he just went to get a little bit of vision control for himself, but either way, Heretics, nice pickup, and especially when you got a Kalista, you really want to be trying to secure these early objectives at this stage of the game. Plus, the fact that they have the thing like Exhaust on towards Flakked means they've just got a little bit more combat strength on that bottom half of the map as well, so I think when BDS lost control for Sheo, it was a good call to just back away.
Temperance, patience. Gonna concede that one, and we return. And Team Heretics, again, 3 grubs. You got early buffs. The goal, not significant advantages really anywhere, as Sheo continues to just clear out a little bit faster than Jankos at this point in the game. But Team Heretics coming ahead of the buffs. The question is Wunder ready for the 3-man dive? He should be, because his his support and AD were running up top lane there briefly, but maybe he just equalizes the wave and walks away.
I like this attention from BDS though, and you can see Trymbi trying to get up here as the wave crashes. It's going to be a little bit late.
Equalizer.
Okay.
Immediately BDS back off. Clearly the call. Hey, the second he ults this way, we just walk away. Enough pressure to take that Rumble ult out of the equation for any upcoming fights or exchanges. A minute until grubs. Likely the Rumble will not have that, or Wunder will not have that, excuse me.
I mean, I think you're all right for that though. You will get it back up for Wunder just after it spawns. It's not like a major cooldown on that ultimate at the moment, so I think you'd be fine. And the fact that Wunder didn't end up dying to a huge amount of investment from BDS on the top side is pretty big. So even the wave lost here only just really equals up the CS and also the experience that already Wunder had gained for himself. So you're relatively happy with the way that this has gone so far as Heretics, and also then getting control onto the bot side too will give you a nice bit of opportunity here for Trymbi to establish vision if he wants to, deeper into this bot side jungle, although Jankos hasn't really had that same synergy that we expected to have with Trymbi over the last 2 games. That was kind of the big highlight that we had coming into today was, hey, we're going to be linking up to see these two work together, but haven't quite seen it yet.
Yeah, it really has not been the case in the series thus far, at least early on. A lot more lane focus in this game from both sides, a little bit less roaming, although there were some appearances outside of bot lane for both supports. Kind of just tracking to see what the next big play is. Team Heretics, despite not having the ulti, not too concerned. Just going to move up, try to get the grub buff. I mean, this is going to feel great. Second game in a row that they're going to have 5 or 6. BDS clearly do not care at all about grubs.
Yeah, they're even going to rotate Wunder down to bot side as well. So I think Wunder just going to ult the wave on bot side, and then look to try and punish Adam. A Rumble in general will do much better in these lane swap scenarios because he can just ult the wave. Makes it very hard to try and deal the damage you need to the tower. So I actually like this from Heretics, trying to just punish Adam in the matchup where he will now should be able to push out top side, but we need to rotate to match Wunder on this bot lane. which at least for one wave should mean that Heretics are ahead of the play.
Yeah, but now Flakked's going to crash this wave. Will grab at least one plate. Won't be able to stick around for much more. Should just take 2 autos here. Maybe even 1, honestly, if he waits for the grub dot, but isn't going to wait for it. Starting up another. So Team Heretics a little bit ahead of the play overall. Rumble already roaming up. There's not really a lot in terms of objectives to contest here, but can look to catch BDS in the rotation.
So they think Adam's going to come mid because the wave was already lost on bot side. So Adam had time to move in towards mid lane and try and make something happen. So they just Wunder smartly moving to mid to cover if Adam tried to make a play on top side, and they just went to forego more waves, or if there was any sort of funny business. So nice job by Wunder to just try and cover any of the potential plays that BDS could have gone for, since Adam was guaranteed to lose that bot lane wave.
Small advantages. Okay, only 300 gold. I mean, such a close game.
Yeah, and then Wunder's just going to clear the way. Welcome to the interactive lane.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody. We really oversold this. I really like last time we saw this lane matchup. They were like multiple deaths before level 6 on both sides. Yeah, Photon very far ahead. This time it's you know, both sides just posturing. You know, kind of bar fight style. Do what you want. Do what you want.
Yeah, you're like grabbing your friend's hand and putting it on your chest, saying,
hold me back, hold me back.
Yeah.
Like whispering in his ear, I don't want to fight. Please hold me back. I need to preserve my masculinity in this moment.
As fragile
but I don't
as
know
it might
who
be.
doesn't want. I would assume that they both want to fight. That's what I'm trying to figure out. But I guess for Wunder, he knows that he has kind of the edge in terms of teamfight impact in theory with the equalizer.
Exactly. Yeah.
As long as he stays a little bit or reasonably ahead of Adam, that will just be the case. And the more that he can force, you know, MR itemization, the easier it'll be for Flakked to tear through the Olaf as Trymbi clears the vision. BDS content to watch.
Nuke should be able to reset and get the Malignants for himself, so maybe this is a moment where he just shoves top, resets, and you TP in for the Dragon fight, because I don't think it's a terrible idea trying to play off your one-item spikes for BDS, but I don't know. I think Zwyroo, I don't know if he just got the interrupt or Nuke was scared of the play there from Zwyroo, but Zwyroo has completed his item, so if you're Heretics, this is your moment to try and put pressure onto BDS to start the objective before you get that reset from Nuke, but Nuke just got, no, actually going to cancel it, so yeah, I think Heretics, you're in an okay spot as long as you see Nuke on top side.
Ooh, Trymbi not quite getting the pulverized. Knockup is there, so they force the ulti out from Flakked. Team Heretics now down a pretty relevant cooldown, but Trymbi holds on to the ultimate as Nuke and Zwyroo trade blows. Favoring Nuke, but Zwyroo got the plate, so it doesn't matter too much. And the Dragon going down, 1-for-1 in Drakes. Here we are.
Yeah, I mean, for Heretics, I think that was a missed chance.
Yeah.
So you haven't got the reset for Nuke. He's sitting a substantial amount to go to the moment. You can see he just reset, got his boots, got Malignants, was in a...
Flakked's in trouble. We've seen this one before. Is he Flakked? Is he stick safe? This time he has the exhaust. It might be enough. Adam in trouble. First blood. Gets the 1-for-1 though. Credit to Flakked. Manages to get something back.
Very close to being able to get away from that, but Rift Herald now up and available. Heretics have to push on mid, could try and go for it, but Zwyroo going to start to move into this bot side to try and cover. I wouldn't be surprised to see BDS forego. Actually, well, I was going to say forego and move Sheo into bot side, but he's going to be moving in towards his top side jungle. But yeah, Flakked thinking he was safe and just gets run down by the Viking. Very close thanks to the exhaust being able to manage the 1v1, but just not quite enough in the tank.
Yeah.
But the Terror Shot finishes him off.
Gets the flash out, gets the ghost out at the very least. And it does open up an opportunity for Jankos on the top side to grab the Herald. So not the end of the world, certainly. Still not behind in terms of the individual 1v1 matchup. Might be a bit frustrating for Wunder, but Wunder also holding onto a gold lead. And again, almost non-existent, the goal difference between these teams. Herald should be the first notable difference in this game in terms of bigger advantages. But I will say, I feel for anyone and everyone who has ever picked Kalista into Adam. This is a man who in the mid game will just wait in any brush and ghost at you. Whether it's a Garen, whether it's an Olaf, I've seen him do it on Darius. You just
the Garen is terrible.
Yeah, you probably just never feel safe playing against this man.
He just plays everything that's like, hey, screw you. You're just going to have a miserable time.
Yeah. I'm
like,
sorry, did you want to interact? That's a shame, because I want to silence, I'm going to spin. Yeah, pretty infuriating. He doesn't even have any armor, either.
Who needs armor when you just kill them?
True. That is the best CC.
It's the Viking way.
Yeah. Or if you're playing against an Olaf, a wall also works pretty good. Wall is very effective. Team Heretics lack the walls at this moment in this composition.
Yeah, I kind of was hoping that they'd have a little bit more for Adam at this stage of the game, because yes, he did get the kill, but it's not like he's massively far ahead. And you can still see like nice gold lead in mid and bot. So for Heretics, you're kind of cool with the game going a little bit slower, because you get to a point where Zwyroo comes online. I think once you get to 2 items, you just pop off with Wunder having a ton of damage, Flakked having a ton of damage, and at least Zwyroo doing relative damage. But
I feel like we're in a very similar situation to where we are in the previous game, where if Team Heretics layer their cooldowns well, and I think it's easier with the Kalista Alistar combo than it was in the previous game with the Varus Alistar, just because you have a way to deliver Alistar multiple times over, you know, it can work out really well. But if we have another game where they're hesitating or not laying those cooldowns perfectly, it's still just like shooting gallery mode for Ice here.
yeah, I think at least with the Rift Herald now, Jankos going to move in towards mid lane. They saw Labrov on the bottom side and would push him mid. Maybe they want to try and put it down, but yeah, I think it's just Heretics being very hesitant to try and put their foot down anywhere. And I think there's been a couple of moments where you can try and like blow open this game, but again, like the loss sends you down to the lower bracket, or potentially 3 losses away from exiting.
Yeah.
It's not a great time to be.
Spectrum on to Trymbi. Ulti on to Flakked, even if he pulls Trymbi back. A TP now committed. Ice Lightning crash as the first kill picked up. BDS take their time, a bit of an extended play, but managed to grab that first kill on the Flakked. Good call out to just immediately ult the Kalista and not going anymore into the Alistar.
Nice pick. Janko's going to look for Sheo.
Sheo Spectrum on back, wants to go for the stun. Zwyroo needs to be careful where he's going to throw the shockwave. Sheo no ulti.
This is great from BDS though. They're putting pressure mid. They already have Ice pushing that in. And with Sheo stepping up there, you're able to get the access to the bot lane tower that you want as well. So Heretics just being pushed away. So BDS again, it's kind of very similar to what we saw in the last game. Playing through side lanes, outpacing Heretics in a lot of the plays, and a really great opportunity netted for themselves to find that pick onto Flakked.
Yeah, and a surprisingly quiet series thus far from Team Heretics bot lane. And we were kind of ready to, you know, game 1, let it wash away. You know, did kind of a difficult draft. You're put in a difficult situation early on. But again, we see this priority. Flakked, boom, early game, aggressive AD carry. It was Varus game 1, it's Kalista game 2, paired with this Alistar, and they're just not really netting any early game advantages, and the coordination hasn't been there in the fights either.
And now Ice set up in the mid lane will be able to push in. 2 items completed for him. He's going to be quite a nuisance in these team fights. And for BDS, as long as you can keep mid lane pressure, you can see Heretics, they have to try and respond. Dragon going to be up in just a few moments, but it gives BDS a little bit of an opportunity they need to just sneak into River and start to clear out some of the vision that was already established from Heretics. At this stage, I think you need some big combo. Trymbi fishing.
Zwyroo a little bit far away here. Trymbi, ooh, not quite getting the angle. Was hoping to get knocked all the way back, but it looks like the root from Labrov now came in. Equalizer across the side. Adam forced to retreat, flashing back to the safety of his tower. Labrov set up, lock up onto 3. Nuke now stepping forward, but again, Ice remains untouched. He is stone cold, so he keeps this one going. The follow-up Nukem is there, though. Sent back in. Courtesy of the Kalista. Trymbi on the second rotation tries to bring it back, but it is not enough. The resets for the Viego are there, and BDS take yet another fight.
Nuke sniped Flakked at the back of the fight and managed to completely decimate Heretics follow-up in that play. The Orianna doesn't quite have enough, but see here, Trymbi not getting the combo, but Flakked as well, using that wall you pointed out so nicely earlier on, Drakos, to get away from the Olaf. But then there's no real follow-up damage because Flakked has had to back away. The re-engage from Labrov is great, but watch, as Flakked moves up here, the snipe from Nuke catches him straight onto the back line, takes out the Kalista, and there's just no real follow-up damage after the re-engage, especially as Wunder uses the Seeker's arm guard he just picked up to just look like a statue that BDS are waiting to come out with.
Ice laughing. No kill pressure onto him, but if there's a way for us to look at the team fight damage in that one, obviously heartbreak for Trymbi, right? That's a frustrating fight. You're so close to turning it back in your favor, and this has been a series where you've been throwing punches, but none of them have been landing. It's like those horrible dreams where you're in a fight and all of your punches just fall short. I feel like we've all had them. That's how it's felt for Heretics, and it's so soul-crushing. It's confidence, you know, crushing, which is not something you can afford in these best of series. Yes, you have the luxury of falling down to the lower bracket, but, you know, Team Heretics wanted more this season. They had more in the regular season, but if they 0-2 these best of 3s, they finished in the exact same spot they did in Winter.
This is where you get the orange juice into you. Just get the sugars back. Start working towards another fight, because realistically, if Heretics continue to let BDS dictate the pace of the map, BDS are going to absolutely decimate them. And it is heartbreaking to see those little moments where you do mess up, but this is a curious one for BDS. I mean, they have full control of top and mid, so not a bad call.
Alarm
They
bell
just
should be
don't
ringing,
really have a
though.
huge amount of damage to finish this.
We've seen a lot of 50-50 Barons yesterday.
They want the TP from Zwyroo. That's all they're looking
Jankos
for, but
has all, but the Baron's getting lower. BDS
pull the trigger. Get the TP.
try to complete it. Trymbi getting the fight started. Flakked isolating Adam off to the side. Objective not going to get stolen away. Sheo manages to secure that one. Keep your eyes on Nuke. Just layering down damage. Zwyroo wants to turn this one back to the flash over the wall. The confidence from Nuke playing flawlessly on the Karma, and the fight just continues. In the middle of the river, BDS again find the angle. Flakked forced to run.
And they got the Baron as well. BDS got everything. Heretics didn't want to pull the trigger to get Zwyroo in, and now Flakked being chased down by Ice. Ice gets the shield. We'll chase him down.
Wants to lock him up.
Oh, let's hit
He just
the-
doesn't
there
have
you
that.
go.
There's just
Okay.
too much. Lock into the Iron Solari clutch there. Or she was previous in the fight, excuse me. Just that extra bit of shielding from Karma clutch there. And now Sheo can continue the push if he wants to. He'll reset, discipline, frustration on the face of Zwyroo. They know that they had a lot of opportunities over the course of this series to kind of take things into their own hands, but the execution wasn't quite there, and as a result, they're in dire straits once again with no luxury of an additional game. Trymbi isolating Sheo. Sheo sticking around for the tier 2. Jankos now following up. No ulti available for Sheo. He will just drop here, but can he take Trymbi on the way? No, he gets the reset, and now he can't ult to safety. That's the worst possible thing that could have happened. Oh, infuriating for the side of Team Heretics.
And they're going to lose a tier 2 on the bottom side as a result as well, because Karma's pushing in. But here, Zwyroo continue to push on the bottom side, but they spent too long deciding whether they want to engage. Jankos can't get into the pit. Again, Ice completely untouched in this fight, whereas Flakked is getting run down by an angry Viking. And yes, Wunder is trying to get some damage down, but this is just too much damage to handle on BDS and so much backline threat. BDS can just run them down.
And Nuke just having a good time. It's relaxed for BDS. They kind of started the Baron, as you highlighted, maybe just hoping to get a TP. We're able to take it. Get the follow-up fight as well. Ice doing so much damage, and Nuke as well has just been landing Mantra Q after Mantra Q after Mantra Q. That one doesn't connect, but so many of these fights have looked like the scrim Karma we were promised for so long. Just endless Mantra Qs with that cooldown reset coming through, even post-nerf. And now I don't know what Team Heretics can do to stop this siege. It's not like they have the late game scaling angle with this Kalista.
But for BDS, this has been fantastic. A team that we said highly reliant on their team fights, starting to play out map states better, starting to learn over the course of spring. This is exactly what we wanted from a team who wants to grow, and you're seeing some of these results here.
Certainly, and we saw some of this more side lane focused play in the previous games. Aggressive start on the Baron, pulling Team Heretics in, clean execution on the team fights. Positive signs for BDS. Again, they made top 4 before, but looking to go even further, looking to challenge the top of the table. Slow siege. Team Heretics get one more set of cooldowns. But BDS, I mean, they can do this however they want. They can push forward, they can risk it, give Team Heretics that opportunity, give them one more full-on 5v5, or they can just take this tower and walk away. And I don't know if Team Heretics will ever get another shot.
They kind of have to do something. This is a Hail Mary. It's going to look like an int, but honestly, you kind of have to do something because you're just getting poked out. The range coming through from Nuke.
Jankos,
There's
no
nothing to
help.
do.
I mean, he needs to go back already. Labrov now going to start the fight by going in onto Wunder. Nice little bit of poke, immediate follow-up. Reset already there for the Viego, and once you start losing a fight against this champion, you do not stop. Flakked trying to make the heroic effort. Still has a decent amount of health. Still alive for now, but the rest of his team just dying, falling apart. Jankos going to ult out to safety. The stolen body of his support doing much more work than the actual thing in this one. Sheo, another reset. BDS slaughtering Team Heretics. We thought it would be close, Rob. Not even remotely close. Vitality. Recognize now the opponent standing in front of them. That one's going to be a banger.
That's going to be a banger. And honestly, with the way BDS were playing today, Vitality had their work cut out. This was very, very clean from BDS. Taking control in the early stages, not giving any sort of real window for Heretics to come back in. And it felt panicked at almost all points in time.
Difficult, I think, on a team coordination level. But of course, BDS won the day. You can vote for your play of the series at LEC on X. Top lane Adam, bot lane Ice, support Labrov. I mean, good moments across the board. Won't lie. Overall, not the series I was expecting. Again, we talked about it on the podcast, talked about it on Euphoria. This was supposed to be the close series. It was not the close series. This was quite a one-sided affair.
It really was. And I think big step-ups across the board, right? I think Ice, fantastic in team fights, both games.
Yep.
And now you're just going to have to see if BDS can keep this going against Vitality.
We'll have to find out. Remember, all these best of threes getting played this weekend. Not a lot of time for Heretics to consolidate. But for BDS, solid win. We're going to head to a quick break when we return. An interview with Labrov and Sheo for our second series, G2 versus Mad Lions Koi.
Our first match of the week of the spring playoffs starts with a winter finals rematch between Mad Lions Koi and G2 Esports. Elyoya and friends shocked us all in winter by making it to the finals and even taking a game off the behemoth that is G2.
You can't do it all, but the Emperor has other plans! I love you all. Elyoya and friends are going to finals!
Before being swept away.
You could be a rookie, you could be a veteran, but nobody takes a title from G2.
Now in spring, they'll meet in the first round, and a win here for Mad will make a statement to the rest of the bracket, putting some weight behind the words of the so-called best ADC in the league.
I just agree with him. He's the best ADC in the league.
Normally, G2 would be considered the overwhelming favorite, but it wouldn't be the first time that we see a Lion take down a Samurai in spring.
Our times will start ramping up, so I definitely just want to make sure we have a spring split that we can be proud of.
Hey, Law.
Yeah?
I need a bit of help with styling since I'm new here, and I was wondering if I could show you a couple of outfits.
Yeah, sure.
Amazing, thank you so much. I'll be right back. I'm a poro snack. Get it?
I don't know, man. No, not really.
I don't know, Law. It's hopeless.
No, it's gonna be fine. Here, let's have a break.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Back to the drawing board then, I guess.
Welcome everyone to the Kia Tilt Proof Challenge. We're here to see if 4 gamers can stand up to the test.
Krass.
Dios mío de mi vida.
I think I lost.
I'm so happy that I didn't eat before.
Red Bull gives you wings.